Live there?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it, WKO?
No, to you.
I haven't gotten anything. Yeah. Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in to the Real Estate Rundown. We're about to go live on WKOL. If you want to tune in there, if you're driving, please listen and don't watch. We should have got those election results. See if Ron can get them for us. We got Tatiana, Kathy, Sarah, Chris Cotton. Thank you guys for getting on here. Hey everybody, Richard Neese here with Weichert Realtors of Space Place. We appreciate you tuning in to the Real Estate Rundown. I've got Dominic Gill in studio today.
Yes, sir.
Dominic is our social media expert, a great co-host. He's always a
Part-time
great compliment.
co-host.
Yeah,
Lately,
well, working on part-time.
That's
We're
right.
trying. We try and get guests on here in most cases, experts in their fields, and I would call Dominic an expert in his field.
I try to be.
The Real Estate Rundown is a way for us to help good people get to a better place. What we want to do is we want to give you the information that can make you a better buyer, a better seller. If you're an investor, if you're just a real estate junkie, we want to give you the tools to be effective at that. We want to help good people get to a better place. That's our motto with the Richard Neese team. And we want to give you that information for free so that you can be the best you. You can do the best that you can as far as the real estate market goes. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. One thing is I want to talk about our office opening up in Hartselle next month. It'll be the middle of Hartselle. I also want to talk about the middle of Hartselle, the middle of August. Excuse me, I lost track there.
It's also in the middle of Hartselle too.
Well, it is. It's pretty close, right off of 31. So you guys will have to come see us for the grand opening. We may have to do an actual live show up there. I think that's what we should do.
Apparently I've just been volunteered to do a live show.
Well,
on the
you know
grand
what?
opening.
See, there's an assumption there. The assumption is that you're going to be included in that. But we will include you on that, Dominic.
No,
another thing I want to talk about is agency. We talk about this pretty often. I'd say about once a month or so. Agency and representation is very, very important in real estate. On the buyer side, on the seller side, it's important to have those lines drawn. So I want to go over that a little bit. Also, negotiations and emotions and how they can get in the way of clear judgment. Dominic's over there talking to some folks on Facebook. If you guys want to watch us, you can get on my personal page, not my business page, and we are streaming live. I think he's shared it a few other times too.
I can't right now because I'm running off the old phone's Wi-Fi, and if I was to get on there, then everything's going to go.
Shut it down.
Yeah,
we don't want to do that, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So Dominic, I usually give you a little bit of a leeway as far as doing an introduction, so I'll let you tell everybody who you are too.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm Dominic
All right,
Gill.
well, that was
I'm
good.
the president.
Let's go ahead and, no, just kidding.
That's all the information you need.
Go ahead.
Former realtor, president of social media visuals. I help people grow their business and on social media and actually learn strategies, tools, tricks, ways to get in front of more people and actually build real engagement. I've been building out a few people lately and been seeing some positive results. It's more than just Richard Neese. In fact, I've been hearing so much about these certain individuals I've been working with. I've actually been hearing complaints about them from other people saying like, golly, that guy just doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. Not you. Some of my other clients. And I'm just sitting there.
Gonna be me.
I'm sitting there smiling. I'm just like, yeah. I was like, that's me. And I was like, I'm helping them out with everything. And
that's right. And I think the importance of that, especially with our team, but with anybody that you help, is it's important to have a team around you. Mm-hmm. It's important to have people that are strong in certain areas because we're not all good at everything. I don't think anybody's good at everything.
No.
We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and that's huge for us. I've got an administrative assistant, Miss Kathy Gray, that helped me with tons of paperwork. We were talking yesterday. I think we've got probably 19 or 20 under contract right now. And it takes a team of not only my team, but the professionals that we use, whether it's local attorneys, lenders. Everybody's got to be on the same page to make sure that we can get that going, especially at that high level of volume, because each and every one of those deals is important to us. So I've got somebody tracking each one of them to make sure that everything is done in the right time frame and to the best of our abilities, and kind of use the strengths and not weaknesses, but the strengths of each person to ensure that that happens. And with Dominic, it's the same train of thought, that his strength is definitely in social media. It's in video editing. It's in finding new ways to keep us on the cutting edge as far as getting your property out there or finding your property. So we're always trying to do different things, to testing the market. And sometimes, I'll say that I'm usually the person that is the leading person on that, because we're trying new things almost daily. I mean, when we find new information, we want to try that out, test it, do a beta test, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, let's move on to the next thing.
Absolutely, yeah. We've done plenty of tests in the past on everything, for sure. And the thing I'd say would probably makes me different versus a lot of other people, because I listen to and take influence from and be mentored by a lot of people in the industry all over the nation. Right. Some of the top minds I pay attention to. But the biggest thing I would say that I stress and make different is I let you control your brand.
That's right.
And that's something that a lot of people, they dictate how your brand needs to be presented on social media. And I disagree with that. I believe that every single company, individual, person has their own personal story, their own personal message, their own personal mission statement that they have to move forward with. And if you take away from that because you want to fit inside of somebody else's social media box of what they think it should be and what has worked, then you're getting away from your message altogether, and you're not going to resonate with people.
I was listening to YouTube today. There's a guy, Eric Thomas, who's a motivational speaker, and he was preaching to just that. He was saying that you'll never be the best somebody else. If you're trying to model, it's one thing to take good things from somebody that's doing things well, but you'll never be the best somebody else. You can only be the best you. And that's the most important thing. We've had some struggles with working through that in the beginning, but at the end of the day, it's really about finding what your calling is, what your message is, the person that you want to be, and how you fit into that role. And that's huge for me, because when you start seeing me sway off of that, we've got big problems coming.
Absolutely, no, for real.
So I've got a couple people on Facebook that I want to give a shout out to. Randy Wilson, who is one of our new agents, is on here. Randy is he's been in the business I think about 4 years now, and he made the transition over to Weicker Realtors of Space Place. We really are excited about using Randy and all of his abilities so that we can help more people get to a better place. We've also got it looks like we've got some other agents on here with Courtney Dean. I've got my wife. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Please share on Facebook if you're listening to us on the radio. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to talk a little bit about agency and representation here in a minute. I think we're running up against a break. So if you guys are looking to buy or sell a home, please call me with the Richard Neese team. You can call me at 256-708-1511, and I promise we'll help you get to a better place. Hey Zach, if you're still on here, brother, we appreciate it. Please share, please comment. If you guys have questions about real estate, we want to be able to answer that.
I know we'll answer it on the radio.
We will answer it on the radio. We can answer it in between the segments as well. We're on a commercial break on the radio. We've got one of the advertisements my daughter's doing right now, so you guys got to hear that one. We need to get that one piped in. But Sarah Lowry Foster, Randy, you're welcome, brother. Chris Cotton. Who else we got on here? We got Beatrice Garrison, Cynthia Weaver, Richard Bailey, Kim Smith, Aaron Ayers. Thank you guys for getting on here. We appreciate the support. We want to answer the questions that you guys have about real estate. We'll answer other questions too, but we want to try and keep it in that lane. We can also answer questions about social media marketing and how to get your message out there. Dominic is the president of Social Media Visual. So please ask questions. That engagement is what we want, because the whole purpose for us to do this show is to give you information, and if you ask us questions, we can be more cognizant on where we're going with that information. I think we're coming back on right now. I hear you, honey. Hey everybody, Richard Neese here with Weicker Realtors of Space Place. We appreciate you guys tuning in to segment number 2 of the Real Estate Rundown. I've got Dominic Gill in studio with me. If you guys have never listened to us before, the reason we do the Real Estate Rundown is to give you information. We want to help good people get to a better place. So we want to answer the questions that you have. We'll bring on experts about real estate, about marketing, insurance agents, home inspectors, closing attorneys, pretty much anybody you can think of. We had a full month where we were reaching out to nonprofits in the area, not necessarily real estate related, but it's all about community. That's what we're big on. I know that we reached several areas with WKOL, and we're so thankful for them to allow us to be on here. But we reached the Hartsville area. We have Gunnersville, Arab, all those areas. We can help you service your real estate needs, but we want to give you information on the front end. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's talk about agency, Dominic. If you guys don't know Dominic, he was I don't know if it's former or prior or inactive realtor.
Inactive.
Yeah, he can come back in at any time. But agency is so important.
I don't know. Here in a few weeks, I may not be able to if I don't get on
That's true. That's true. Agency is so important. And tell folks what agency means, Dominic. Give them kind of the Cliff Note version.
Agency means that they're going to protect your best interests. It's a form from fiduciary duty, right. Something that's a word that's been thrown around a lot during the political season is fiduciary interest, fiduciary duty. Basically, what it means is fiduciary duty is you're going to put the people you represent's interests above your own, meaning right. that it's for the better of them, not for the better of your own.
Yeah, you're taking your knowledge, your skills, your experience to make sure that you guide this person down the right path as if you were that person. What decisions would you make? And I'll tell you where this kind of gets fuzzy. There's a lot of agents out there, or I'm not going to say a lot. There's some agents out there that may have their best interest at heart, unfortunately. In this industry, any lucrative for-profit industry, you're going to have people that want to take advantage, make as much money as possible, regardless of the consequences. And that's where fiduciary interest, fiduciary duty, agency, representation, all that stuff is so important. And I'll be honest with you, some realtors don't understand agency. Some realtors don't understand how all of it plays out.
Yeah, I think so. I think the way that they view it, and because I've talked to a few people, just kind of, not necessarily called them out on it, but just kind of talk to them talk to them in general, kind of feeling out the situation.
And
the way that most of them feel about it is that, well, they're getting what they want anyways. Right. And that's what we want to do is just, they get in their house, and that's how they feel.
Right. They
feel that they are representing business by getting in the house, but in my opinion, again, it's my opinion, I can't judge their heart, they aren't representing their people to the best.
That's right.
To the fullest, because of they're still putting their own emotion in the transaction, their own money. Right. They want to go and protect, make sure that they're getting what they want out of it, to the point where they wouldn't even present certain documents that need to be presented.
Right. No, I understand. I agree with that. I think those fall into two categories. I think you have those that aren't trained properly and don't have the knowledge. And then I think on the other side of that is you have people that know what they're doing and are intentionally going after that. So what I want to do is I want to address both of those. But the first one I want to do, and I'm proud of the company that I work with because they make sure on a daily basis that agents are trained to a professional standard. Mm-hmm. They don't give you a license and say, all right, get out there. I think we got some issue going on with Facebook. It said broadcast interrupted. So I don't know if it's showing up on your end. But they with Weichert, they make sure Weichert Realtor Space Place. They make sure that you get trained from day one. They literally have programs built in that almost, they feel like a full-time job to get that done over the first month, the first time frame. But once you get that base of knowledge, it doesn't stop. There's continual training programs throughout. And so you have agents, even seasoned agents. I was talking to an agent probably as last weekend, and we were talking about transaction brokers and how buyer agency agreements and limited consensual dual agency works. And they weren't very clear on how that line works because, with limited consensual dual agency, you can actually be the same brokerage, not the same person representing.
Right.
But you're actually, both of you are representing buyer and seller. Unless you have certain documents signed and have that understanding of a buyer agency agreement and a listing agreement, then at that point you are representing one side or the other, and you may be misrepresenting if you don't have those documents signed.
Absolutely. And just kind of clarify why that is that whoever is the broker or the what's the qualifying broker?
Qualifying broker. Yeah,
whoever's the qualifying broker all the listings.
Yeah, they're the only person that can technically sell real estate.
Right, because they're
under their license.
Under their license. So if I worked under a brokerage, and Richard worked on that brokerage as we have in the past,
right?
They were both every transaction we've done was technically done by the same person.
That's right.
Because of it was underneath our qualifying broker at the time, West Warren's brokerage. So they were technically his transactions. So if me and Richard was to do a deal together, I had the seller, he had the buyer, or in most cases, it'd been the opposite of that. But if that was the case, they still would have been a dual agency situation because technically they both would have been our brokers.
And the reason that's important is because most people don't understand that. Some agents don't understand that. Most people don't understand that. You have to have certain documents filled out on that to make sure that you can represent both sides. Because in the beginning, when you get that listing, you either ask them, can I represent the other side as well in a limited capacity with you, or do you want me to strictly represent you? And there are pros and cons to both of that.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest cons, I would say, is that with Weichert, we're trained to make sure that we get a buyer agency agreement so that we can fully represent the buyer. Well, that's great on the front end, but on the back end, if we're actually showing a listing that they're not allowing us to do, have limited consensual, we can't show them that house. I mean, we can't represent both sides because the seller's not allowing us to. So you've got to make sure that the consumer has all the knowledge that they need in order to make a good decision.
Absolutely.
That's what it comes down to. And I try my best. I'll tell you what ends up happening on the other side of that is we were talking about how new agents or folks that aren't very trained, and then people that take a negative approach to making more money in fiduciary interest. Locally, I would say that people actually they represent more than they should.
Overrepresent, yes.
Yeah, you actually have some sort of implied agency, which can get you in trouble too. I'm not going to get into the license law on that, but there are some things that some local agents do, and obviously we're not going to call them out, but that really aren't up to par with what the Real Estate Commission says.
Right.
And what I think that the primary thing of that is that they don't have the training. Right. I don't think they've been taught properly from the beginning, and that's.
And in overrepresentation situations, they're very well-meaning.
Absolutely. Their heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
But
it's not something that's negative against them.
Yep.
It's just that there's a point that they have to understand where their line is drawn and what they should do to best represent based on their relationship.
And you can put liability on that too. I mean, if you overrepresent with some sort of implied agency and it's not agreed upon on the other side, I mean, you can be sued for that.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can be in a lawsuit for giving away pertinent information that wouldn't have been given away if the representation was proper. And I know we've been throwing out a lot of stuff. This isn't exactly
using these big words like pertinent.
Well, oh yeah, this isn't exactly one of those shows where we can talk about the fun stuff. I mean, this is something that should be considered when you're listing your home and when you're buying a home is representation. So on the other side, we're going to finish up. We're going to talk a little bit about emotions and how representation can factor into that. If you guys are looking to buy or sell a home, please give me a call. We can help you with the Richard Neese team. Call me at 256-708-1511, and we'll help you get to a better place. Hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in on Facebook. I've seen several folks jump on here. I don't know if you guys are still on or not. Please share, please comment. If you have questions about representation, if you have any questions about real estate at all, we definitely want to help you. We'll actually talk about it on air or in our last segment, or we can bring in a specialist in a certain area so that you guys can hear what they have to say about each one. I see Laura Wilkie, Kimberly Shelton, Zach Kritzberg, Teresa Gill, Mark Bird, Brian DeColby. Thank you guys for getting on here. I appreciate all the support. We want to help good people get to a better place, and we try and do that on a daily basis. Should have got some water this time. Over 5,000 followers.
I'm not even listening to me right now. Let's see, let me hear me. Oh, that's you.
Well, we're on time. I feel like 19.
Yeah.
Hey, Francis, we appreciate you jumping on, brother. Please share. Thank you for voting on Best of the Best. We appreciate all you guys. All right, Dominic, here's your chance. All right, Dominic, you just missed your shot on
Oh,
it.
I didn't even know.
Everybody,
it was me.
Richard Neese. Everybody, this is Richard Neese from Weichert Realtors and Space Place. Dominic was supposed to jump in on that when I was giving him a chance to do the intro.
I was actually reading something at the same
No,
time.
it's
I
all
saw
right,
you
it's all
waving your hand around, So, hey everybody, this is Dominic Gill with Real Estate Rundown. I am replacing Richard Neese from now on.
No, you're going to get replaced is what's going to happen. We appreciate you guys tuning in. The goal of Real Estate Rundown is to help good people get to a better place. We're also streaming live on Facebook. We've been shared several times. You can get on my personal page. Just look me up as Richard Neese, and you'll see the live stream. We try and help good people get to a better place on a daily basis, and especially with the Real Estate Rundown. We created it, it's probably been 15 months ago now, that we started the Real Estate Rundown, and the reason we did it was because we want to put information out there. Absolutely. And I'll tell you the story on it. And this was the Rundown was inspired by Wes Warren, and it was actually kind of adopted off of an agent up in Murfreesboro. We saw something he was doing, and we wanted to use that to better. I mean, we use good ideas. I borrow good ideas as much as I can, because if it's a good idea for one, it should be a good idea for another. And a different market, you can use things to help benefit your buyers and sellers here. And it was Tommy Davidson up in Murfreesboro had a show called
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
That's right, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He had a show called Real Estate 101. It was on Facebook Live, and we decided, you know what, we can do that. And then there was also a combination of Wes Warren was doing some first-time homebuyer seminars, and I said, why don't we do a first-time homebuyer seminar every week? Why don't we reach out to more people, let them know what they need to do to get pre-approved, what they need to do to go through the process itself, to list their home, prep it, get information about lending, whatever the case might be, agency representation. So I said, let's do this on a weekly basis. Let's put this information out there because it's good information.
Absolutely.
And there's so many people. I mean, we've been doing it 15 months, and there's still people that come up to me and ask me pretty frequently the same things that we've covered. And that's why we keep doing it, because there's going to be people coming into the market looking to buy. And just like you said before, once you've bought, you tend to not be as interested in real estate for a little while. But if you come back in and you're going to buy again, or your kids are going to buy something, that information does change. So we want to keep you up to date on it as well.
Absolutely. And the thing that we want to make sure we do is keep the consumer informed.
That's it.
On both sides, the buyers and the sellers, so that they can make sure that they can understand what they have to go through in the real estate process and understand what certain things mean, so that they can have the best advantage and be in the best position to go through the transaction smoothly.
That's right.
And get more for their money, or not spend as much on it, because sometimes they'll come in something and they just see what they want, but they don't understand the hows on how to get it.
That's right.
And so there are things that people overlook, and they do because they think that it's like going to a grocery store. I need milk. I'm going to buy milk.
That's
you
right.
don't need representation for
That's
that,
right.
as someone in my family has once told me.
Well, I'll tell you this, with the real estate profession, especially being a full-time professional, I like to think of it a lot like being a handyman or a carpenter, in a way that there's so many tools that I need, but you only need those tools when you need them. You can't be carrying around all that stuff all the time, so I try and use those tools when effective. But when people come in, they start asking me questions. There is no one size fits all.
Well, no, I've used a wrench as a hammer many times.
Yeah, exactly. But we want to make sure that, as a professional and a full-time professional, that you have all those tools available, because that's really what makes a good realtor, is knowing not only how to find the property,
right,
but to negotiate, to write up contracts, to make sure that you can find proper financing. There may be some times when the person you start with isn't the best fit for you long term, and it has nothing to do with steering. It has to do with what's going to be a best fit for the customer at that time.
Absolutely.
And that's what I try and find on a daily basis. I have several professionals that I use in the lending side, and I always have other local vendors coming in, but these folks are very good at this type of loan, or these folks are very good at keeping closing costs down. The things that you need, the situation you're in, there's usually a good tool or a good person that we can help you with that. There is no one size fits all. And I would say this, that the lenders that I use, they understand that too.
Absolutely.
And I've had some great lenders. I think Amanda was on here earlier. Amanda will tell me, hey, I'm not a great fit for this type of loan or this person. I think this person might be better. And that is true professionalism, in my opinion, because she.
I've used that before too.
Yeah. Well, I have as well. With certain properties, I may not be the right person for that.
It's just not a good fit, because sometimes I will see that with what that person is looking for. I've referred agents who are understand the lake properties a lot more than
Yeah.
I do, because I'll be straight up, as an agent, I was
That's a great
very, very uninformed on what was real value and different things on the lake, and I felt uncomfortable because I wanted to make sure that my customers and my clients were educated through the process. And
That's exactly right, and that's what it comes down to is helping that customer get to that better place.
absolutely,
You want to make sure we make an informed decision. And at the end of the day, there's so many good professionals out there, whether it's realtors, lenders, closing attorneys, insurance agents, whoever it might be. We can help you find that person that'll get you to that next place.
right. And so, what's a typical? And this is I'll tell you what mine is. Advice you tell people that's probably the most helpful advice in the buying and the selling process.
Well, it's a fairly vague question, but it's the first thing we've got to do is make sure that we've got our lending right, because I don't want you to look at a house that's too big and fall in love with that house and not be able to purchase it, but I also don't want you to settle for a house that's less if you can afford more. And that's probably the biggest thing that I tell folks in the beginning, because that once you get that pre-approval letter, we can find something.
Absolutely.
There's no issue on that.
Right. And I always tell people was patience. I was like, and being intelligent with your patience. For instance, don't just jump after everything on there and get in a hurry because you're ready to move. Don't let the moving fever make a worse judgment.
That's a great point.
And but I tell them, once you find that house, act quick. Don't worry about much of anything, because when you find that home, don't sit around and think about it, because you'll know pretty quickly. But be patient in the process of it, because it will show up.
I agree. And what I like about that, and what you said, you went all the way around, is don't let emotions control you.
Absolutely.
Whether that's greed, whether that's fear, whatever it is, don't let it affect you, because I'm here to keep an even temper, even keel, so that you guys can fall in love with a house. I can help you negotiate, and that's something I really wanted to talk about today. We'll have to save it till the next show. Is making contact through representation, and letting your emotions show through, and telling people you're a motivated buyer in certain ways. Make sure that if you're being represented by a buyer's agent, let that buyer's agent do your job. And I'll get into that later. We're coming up against the end of the show. Man, we've had a ton of information today. I really thought we were going to be a little bit slow, but agency and representation is so important.
And you can talk about it for a while and still not.
Absolutely.
I mean, tip of the iceberg.
And there's so many scenarios, and we can talk about it for days and days. We appreciate you guys tuning into the Real Estate Rundown. We really want to help good people get to a better place. Thank you for listening. If you want to go back and watch the show on Facebook, you can definitely do that to catch some of that information. If you guys want to buy or sell a home, you can always give me a call, 256-708-1511, and we'll help you get to a better place. We appreciate you guys tuning in. I know you heard the ending there. We're on WKUL, and then every other week we have a Facebook Live at 8 p.m. At the studio, is what we call it, at Dominic's place. So we've got the studio set up. We've got some other transitions and things like that in there that I think are pretty cool. I think it really takes our video work up to the next level. If you guys are looking for an increase in exposure, you can always call Dominic. And Dominic will help you social media visual. And it doesn't matter, you can mainly sales businesses, but there's some other things that we can do, whatever your business is. So you can call Dominic, and he'll customize a plan for you and make it work. And that's free of charge, right?
Typically, we kind of go and do an overview that's usually free to go and all, and then we talk about a direction, and we start with some beginning strategies, and then just kind of the intro stuff to get there before we get to the advanced stuff.
Absolutely.
I think last week, this local politician, not here locally, out of state, reached out to me, and we actually increased his following to 7,000 in like a few weeks, and he's killing it right now. So we got to start working on a little more strategies on how now that we've got that audience, we captured their attention. How do we need to pursue one farther? And so there's a lot to it.
One of my old business coaches, I'll paraphrase. I'm not very good at direct quotes, but he basically said, if you've got a song, that's right. If you got a song or a message to put out there, you can either sing it to 10 people or 10,000 people.
That's it.
Which would you rather do? What's going to make a bigger impact on your life and theirs? It's that 10,000 people. Dominic can help you reach that 10,000 people. Hope you guys have a great day.